There's literally no wick.
Are you kidding?
I have an empty Wickless. How do I light it? I literally just noticed that. I just pulled it out. There is a hole in my Meghan Markle candle. I'm going to say something. I want Meghan Markle to send me a wick.
Hi, all. Kinsey Schofield here with Donna Bowling of Daily Dose of Donna. I mean, that's like the wrong name for your show because I was telling you last week, it was like second dose of Donna. I just was refreshing because you were feeding my hunger for all of the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni chaos. You're my number one source. What I love, we're going to talk about a little casting later. So that's why I want to bring up that you are a former casting director, but you are right now a pop culture connoisseur, the goddess of all things true crime and entertainment. So thank you for taking a break from Blake and hanging out with me for a second.
I'm taking a break from Blake to talk about Blake with you. Thanks for having me.
Well, I put together, honestly, a list of mean girls that are coming in pretty hot in 2026. We're seeing some people for who they truly are. I've said it once, right. I'll say it again. Blake and Ryan's campaign against Justin Baldoni and control of the media narrative, it reeks of Harry and Meghan's litigation marathons. So I do think it's appropriate that my team or my audience engage in this conversation too. We are talking a lot about Blake Lively today. We're going to talk about the Beckham family drama. And since Mean Girls are the theme, obviously I'm going to need your reaction to Meghan's show being canceled, because we called it months ago. We talked about some casting concerns months ago, and those kind of exploded over the last week as well.
Yep.
So where do we begin with last week? I'm at a loss. Taylor Swift private messages. We're hearing Taylor so upset about this. Are you buying that? She should know better, Don. Like, she should know better.
Well, I think there's two things here. Look, you're not better than getting in the muck with your girlfriends over text message and taking it to the group chat and talking smack on, girls that were mean to your friends or guys that were mean to your friends, or maybe like a situation online, whatever. That is totally appropriate behavior. And I actually think that makes for good friendships when you can kind of really just get real and honest in your text messages. I don't think Taylor Swift, who is one of the most private people, like, she's not a public person in the sense of her personal information. She's very kind of like, everything's very calculated over there in the Taylor camp. This is probably her biggest nightmare, because when you're texting with your friend about a situation that you think that they're in, you don't ever assume that the public will ever have access to that. So a lot of people are feeling really like, this is weird that we're reading Taylor and Blake's text messages. And I say, bring it on. Bring it on. I mean, it's such a window into so much. Like, we've been covering this case on my show since literally December 21st, when her complaint came out, when Blake Lively's complaint came out in the New York Times article. So what we're getting now is we're filling in the blanks a little bit. There was a lot of holes. We had all of Justin Baldoni's content, but we didn't have any of Blake Lively's text messages. And all we kept saying was, and I say we, I mean the creators that are covering this, we just need to see evidence from Blake Lively that she was actually being harassed by this guy. Because then you would be texting your friends and saying, he's sexually harassing me. He's making me feel uncomfortable. He's walking in on me at this. He's talking about porn. He's da-da-da. So we were waiting for those text messages, but we're not seeing those.
I know. Thank you for bringing that up, because that was something I noticed throughout your coverage. I was like, I'm seeing a lot of petty stuff. I'm seeing a lot of scheming behind the scenes. I'm seeing people congratulating each other for little fibs that benefit them but you're right. Like, I would believe my girlfriend if she said, I hate this guy, he's the worst person to work with, and I would side with her, without a doubt. But
1000%.
Yeah. But I would also, I want to feel, all we hear about is what a boss babe Taylor is. And I'm not trying to disregard that. She is clearly an incredibly talented performer and has a very lucrative life. But I want to think she's smarter than putting things in writing that could end up in a court of law. To you're absolutely right. She's talking to her girlfriend. She doesn't, but obviously, based on the texts, there's a shift in Blake's tone because Taylor says, "You're talking to me like it's a corporate email." So it's almost like Blake is already getting a little nervous or suspicious that, her tone has shifted. Has her tone shifted because she's wondering who could be listening, who could inevitably see these, and Taylor has no clue that these could inevitably become public?
Well, the first group of text messages happens way before Blake even steps foot onto the set of It Ends With Us. And it's already talking major crap about Justin Baldoni, calling him a doofus, a clown, really just going all in on like talking smack about this like dumb green director. I'm putting quotes around my,
Yeah, yeah.
And Taylor's she's in on it. She's like, okay, let's go. Let's make fun of this guy together, which is gross behavior coming from someone who portrays herself as like standing up for the artist. And like, her big story that we all are very aware of is the Scooter Braun Taylor Swift story, where, all of a sudden her text messages, her masters were, according to Taylor, just like taken from her. Well, if you dive deep into that story, it's not exactly so cut and dry. But you would think, why would Taylor be so down to mess up a new director and take everything from him by lying? It's admitted. Blake goes, thanks for lying about A, B, and C, about creating this narrative that Blake's version of the story or Blake's version of the script is so good. And that is gross behavior, I think, more than anything. Now, towards the end, in December, you get that text message where Taylor finally says, hey, what's up, Blake? You're talking to me like a different person. At this point, the lawsuit is already, the CRD complaint and the New York Times article is already in pre-production, basically. At this point, because we know that the New York Times article metadata was in October of 2024. They were already starting to work on this with Blake's people. They had a meeting, a very, very publicized meeting, Taylor, Blake, and Ronan Farrow, who was the author behind the famous Me Too article that really took down Harvey and everything.
Yeah.
So
also probably Frank Sinatra's son, if we're being honest.
It looks just like him. Fully. But he didn't end up writing the article, but he probably connected Blake and Taylor with Meghan Toohey. Now, Meghan Toohey's who eventually wrote the article. So this article was already it was in the works, which is probably why Blake's legal team at this point, because she was already about to file the CRD complaint, she had a lawyer with her the entire time, was probably saying, be very careful with what you're putting in writing.
Oh, yeah.
There is a possibility that down the line, I don't think they ever thought Justin was going to fight back like this, but I think they thought it's a possibility we may have to see things.
Wow.
So that's probably why things changed. And just in addition to that, I find it all really fascinating because Taylor has a lot more to do with it too. Mm-hmm. Taylor has a best friend named Ashley Avignon, and she is I think she's a former stylist. I think she used to work with Rachel Zoe back on the Zoe show, the Zoe Project show, back in the day. She is the person that eventually connected Blake Lively's team with all of those private text messages that got this kind of going.
Wow.
So there's a lot of shady
didn't
stuff.
Taylor say, I have nothing to do with this? Or through her publicist, didn't they say look, she's completely not involved in this whatsoever. And now it seems like she's connecting the dots and introducing them to people that are creating a lot of opportunities for them to go after Justin.
And that's why people are frustrated with Taylor. I think it's not about her texting him texting that he's a little, or that, siding with her friend if she felt like she was treated wrong. No one cares about that. Right. And I think people are getting the wrong story about Taylor. Oh, everyone would stand up for their friend. Yeah. What's bad about it is that Taylor, she didn't go all the way. She stood by her friend. She stood by her friend. She stood by her friend until her friend got thrown under the bus. And then she didn't stand by her friend, pretended she doesn't even talk to her anymore. And then her publicist said, she's never stepped a foot on the set of It Ends With Us, which may be true. She has no involvement in this whatsoever. And clearly she did.
Well, you said it doesn't sound like they're talking. Is that canceled song about Blake, do you think? Because I have no clue. I guess that is one of my questions for you. Where do you instinctually think these two women stand today?
I don't think that they're friends. The reason why is because of Travis unfollowing Ryan Reynolds. Had that not happened, it could be one of those things like, let's just lay low for my business. But because that would be why Taylor wouldn't show her face publicly with Blake. But because of that unfollow, which was so not necessary,
Yeah.
unless it was like, F these people, we want out of that friendship. Yeah, I don't think that they're friends. Maybe they'll be friends way down the line, but I don't think that this whole situation that happened last week is helping in any way because Taylor's taking a major hit.
And so is Travis's podcast Instagram. Like all
Oh, really?
all the comments under his show with his brother where they're just talking about dude stuff or are, people tearing into him about Taylor, which is kind of an unfortunate consequence. But Taylor's always, as far as I can remember, I know that when she was younger she had her comments open, but as an adult she, similar to Meghan Markle, has her comments turned off. So I guess
Yeah.
people were just looking for an outlet. And but Travis seems like a tough guy. I'm sure that
I think I think Travis is probably, understanding the whole reasoning behind everything. He's standing by his woman. He's not speaking about it, which I think is really smart. He's staying out of it, unlike Ryan Reynolds. And I think that the thing about Taylor, and I've really done a lot of research in this in the last week, is that if you follow Taylor Swift, her brand, just like Meghan Markle has her brand of certain kind of person, Taylor Swift's brand is being of like somewhat of a victim in an adversarial situation, whether it's with her exes, whether it's with the industry, men
Kanye,
in the
Kim,
industry, Kanye, Kim.
Scooter,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's always like that one person that she's against. And
and
and it's
that
really
keeps her base emotionally invested in her success.
it's kind of like cult like in that way because people are like, we're going to stand with you no matter what. And they'll go to bat in the comment section. They'll fight back, anytime anyone wrongs her. But this one feels like there's a lot of anger. I don't know if it's going to affect anything for her life. Like,
Does it change for people, or will people give her the benefit of the doubt if she does continue to distance herself from Blake Lively? Because again, I think I give her the benefit of the doubt because I go, well, that was back then. Maybe she's come to the realization that Blake is not the good guy in this scenario. Maybe she realizes that Blake was trying to steal another person's project for her own personal um, development and her own personal success. Will people be more forgiving of Taylor if she really has cut ties with Blake and she's seen the light, or does Taylor need to make that statement or um, prove that in some way for people to forgive her?
I, I don't know what the best move is for Taylor because I do think that there's a lot of unanswered questions. It would be nice if she just spoke on it and said, listen, I am, highly, I'm not a PR person, but something along the lines of, I all I was doing was trying to stand by a friend. I've learned since then to be much more, aware of what situations I step in. And that's something like just approach it. But for some reason I have a feeling she's not going to, and she's just going to move on business as usual.
Yeah, well, she knows all she has to do is get one drone shot or a helicopter shot of her wedding, and
Oh,
it
forget
will
it.
change or it will change everybody's topic of conversation. It will divert
Yeah.
attention. Um, it's interesting to me that Blake tries to present herself as having a leadership role on the set. This is in one of the messages she sends trying to get production credit. And she talks about how she navigated HR issues. Through these text messages, do you see any proof of that? Do you see her actually navigating HR issues? I mean, aside from writing this wild 17
Point list.
yeah, point demand that I think even Sony replied like, this is a hostage situation. This is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. Um, no, because she also in her deposition specifically said she didn't know how to file an HR report. So if you are someone that is in charge of HR issues, by that I think she just means I spoke to everyone and anyone I could about how bad Justin Baldoni was. That's how
Yeah.
she dealt with her HR issues. Like she probably thinks like I was the sounding board for all these people that really were miserable on the set. Whereas if you really read the text messages, she was like sowing these seeds.
Instigating. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Remember this? Remember that? Didn't he say this? Didn't he say that? I mean, she is literally like an ex girlfriend on a warpath trying to make everyone hate her ex.
Yeah, it's giving teenage mean girl vibes to an
Gossip.
unbelievable extent. Well, let's kind of talk about that because one of the comments I'd left on your page was you were diving into some messages to Matt Damon and his wife, to Ben Affleck. Are you surprised a judge would throw out Justin Baldoni's case? Justin Baldoni is saying she was trying to take me down too, and his case gets thrown out. I am so surprised that that came to fruition. Having read some of those messages Blake Lively sent to A-listers in this business, clearly trying to disparage this one person. She's defaming this person. Matt Damon's never going to work with Justin Baldoni. In fact, he might create problems for Justin Baldoni in the future. Same with Ben Affleck. I mean, she is on a warpath in some of these emails. And while she's not on TikTok, I felt like her actions could be far more damaging reputationally and professionally, talking to some of these high profile people versus accusing Justin Baldoni's team, not even Justin Baldoni himself, of propping up some TikTokers.
So 1000%. But the reason why, so here's why this went so wrong for Justin. Justin's case was thrown out before discovery was even completed, meaning none of these text messages that we're seeing, none of these emails of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds just completely disparaging him to all their high-powered people were even exposed yet to the court. But the reason that the case was thrown out, and I don't have the exact legal definitions in front of me, but Blake was very smart about how she started this whole process. And by filing the CRD complaint in California, legally, she was protected from that defamation lawsuit that comes back at you. So essentially, it's something along the lines of, I am doing this and you can come back me and sue me and sue me, whatever, but I've already kind of protected myself by filing the CRD complaint. And that was her way of her attorney's ways, because I'm sure she didn't know this, but her attorney's ways of saying basically like, you're protected. Like whatever you say now, he can't come back at you. But I don't know if that means that when this is all said and done, he can't then say, new lawsuit.
Right. I mean, I don't wish bad on anyone, but after reading those emails to Matt Damon and his wife and to Ben Affleck and to Colleen Hoover, I really thought, this is all the proof Justin Baldoni ever needed, that people were working against him the entire time. And you get, and it's sad, a little paranoia throughout Justin Baldoni's communication with friends. Like he is really sensing something is off. And now, I mean, he must feel a little bit of relief knowing that his intuition was right. And these people were working against him from the very get. Like they were from the very start. They had an agenda, and it was to run him over.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that they ever gave him the benefit of the doubt in that movie, because other than the first like kind of ass kissing emails that Ryan, or text messages that Ryan was sending to Justin, like, we're huge fans of yours. You could already hear in that, if you reread those text messages that Ryan sent to Justin before Blake officially signed on, which was this was when he was saying that he would tattoo the face of the first AD's face on his perineum. That's what Ryan said to him. But the reason why he was talking like this is he was kind of getting in. It was like a love bomb situation. We think you're great. There's no one else we'd want to work with. You're amazing. But he also said stuff like, if you want to be in with us, this is what we need from you.
Ugh.
very, very dangling a carrot, like, here, I'm going to give you this, but do you want to be like kind of in with the Reynolds and the Livelies? He did the same thing, by the way. Ryan Reynolds did the same kind of communications to Sony in his messages and his agents. He's
Mhm.
a very, very, very conniving guy, that Ryan.
I mean, if Justin Baldoni would have given her everything she wanted, do you, and because I just feel like Justin felt like this was his project and this could be a legacy for him. And
Mhm.
he had put a lot of heart into it. And so when she came and said, I want this, 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 and this, he said, well, I'm really kind of committed to having it this way because that's how
Yeah.
I envisioned it. And this is technically my job. Do you
Yeah.
think if he would have just been like, sure, 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 which inevitably he's bullied into a corner and has to be. But if he would have been like that with no resistance whatsoever off the top, would we even be here?
Probably not.
That's so sad.
So sad. I just think that she was finding everything wrong with him because he was giving her a little bit of a difficult time compared to what she thought she was going to get, which was just a man that she could walk right over. Plus, I do believe that she just didn't understand the kind of person he was. I think they
Well,
operate in very
also
different.
you've also said before she didn't understand the tone of the movie because who goes and
Oh,
promotes, an alcoholic beverage during a domestic violence film?
no, she did everything wrong from beginning to end, but she really didn't. She didn't like him. She didn't like him. And I think ultimately what this comes down to is just personalities. She didn't like him. I don't think he liked her, but he was willing to make it work. He was willing to bend over backwards and do everything he could possibly do with boundaries because it was his own movie, etc., to make her feel good on the set, to make her feel happy on the set. And but she was like she was insatiable in terms of her needs. Like it never ended. And so when you don't like someone, Kinsey, and you already find yourself getting like the ick over someone, you're going to find every little thing wrong. And that's where it was. When she complains that he said to her, well, that look is hot or whatever, she was
Yeah.
wearing a full fleece onesie and a jacket over it. And
Like
she said
he
that's
might have meant literally temperature wise.
well, that's what he says, but I actually think he probably just meant it as like a sarcastic thing, like
Yeah.
hot look. That's a hot look. And
And
then she said,
we know she's so insecure because she's complaining, like she's worried about him asking about her weight because he has
"Oh yeah."
problems. So we already know that she's feeling insecure in this space too.
And the weight thing is, I think the weight comment is what really turned everything like to a higher degree here. And that was because her trainer, this Don Saladino guy, is I think a snake. I mean, Justin was just being honest. I have to lift her and I have disc issues or whatever in my back. And instead of being like, no problem, dude, like she's
Yeah.
going to be around 120, whatever, he runs back to Ryan. Or maybe we don't know. Maybe Ryan was working out with him one day and said, like, dude, tell me, what did Justin say? Has Justin said anything? Like, already trying to kind of find things wrong with this guy.
It's so bizarre.
It's
Yeah,
gross.
that I do just think that if at the end of the day, Ryan and Blake are clearly two very entitled people. And whether if she walked out a winner here, I don't think that the industry in the city that we live in is going to be very forgiving. I think we've attached her to being difficult, drama, a troublemaker, not in a cute way, but in like geez, do we really want to deal with this diva? Like again, Meghan Markle. I just think that these two have established that they're not easy to collaborate with or worth it.
100%. And I think Ryan is going to be in a different category because I think he's incredibly marketable, even though this is happening because his audience is not tuned into the day to day of Blake Lively and Taylor Swift stuff. But
Yeah, they want action movies. They want fart jokes. Like it's not the demo.
yeah, I do. I am curious though, because Ryan Reynolds is in production on a kids movie, Eloise, which is for Netflix. And this is a movie that was based off the books, Eloise, and I'm sure there was cartoons and stuff. And that audience is moms, right? It's
Mhm.
moms bringing their kids. And a lot of little girls out there are going to say, I want to see Eloise. Like, is this going to affect a mom saying, well, sorry, no, or we'll wait until it's on TV. Like we're not going to a theater to see this. Or I guess it's Netflix, so it doesn't really matter. But
Yeah.
I do I am curious. I did get a little bit of Hollywood Insider that I'm going to go over on my show this week about just his approval ratings. I mean, Ryan and Blake's approval ratings
Like
have
Their
plummeted.
Q score here
Basically, but
in
like an
Hollywood.
industry, like an
Yeah,
inside industry, and their ratings have plummeted since
yeah.
2023. So
He has to know, but I think that they are just so stubborn, and it's just like I feel like they lost so much more than they could ever potentially gain. I mean, so if Blake Lively would have not pursued that article and this lawsuit, people would have stumbled upon her hair care products in Target and bought them. People would have potentially bought her alcohol. I don't know. I'm not a big drinker, but time heals all wounds. And this was like gasoline on an open flame. And now it's a never ending saga. Now she's dragging Taylor Swift into it. Poor Matt Damon's catching strays. And I just think that it's a huge waste of time and resources. And yes, if I thought there was an SA issue, I would applaud the effort, but I have yet to see an SA issue throughout any of the discovery that we've had access to so far.
yeah, we're not seeing like there's people out there that will say calling someone hot and sexy is SA or SH, you know. I just don't understand the
He's in
point.
such a difficult position though, because he's trying to make them feel good because he wants them to feel good on camera. Do you know what I mean? Like, sorry.
Exactly.
Okay, good. I was like, is
Exactly.
that horrible that I'm saying that? But I just feel like
No.
he's in
And
this
like
weird position.
I've said a million times, what actress doesn't want to know that they're looking good in leather pants? Like
Yeah.
Jenny Slate. Oh my God, he said it looks, I look hot in these leather pants. What? You're
Yeah.
wearing leather pants. Do you want to look ugly? Do you want to
Yeah.
look like matronly? No. Like
Yeah.
this is
And Jenny
something.
Slate, girl, take the compliment, Jenny.
Hello. But I think honestly, these people were out for blood. And ultimately, you know, Ryan and Blake are both people that have committed far worse crimes on their own sets of movies. Ryan Reynolds had his daughter say sexual things over and over and over, 7-year-old daughter. And Blake Lively grabbed her co star's testicles on set in a scene, unscripted and improvised. Grabbed and squeezed his testicles. And they
Yeah.
all talked about it openly. So if you can act this way
Where
in
was the
certain ways,
intimacy coordinator there that day?
came in sick. But I just think that they were that's what I hope a jury will be able to see with all of this is that this was a kind of a created argument because you know that once you say sexual anything,
Yeah.
the person's career is over.
Mm-hmm.
Look at
Yeah. Well,
every single other person.
again, Meghan Markle, racism. Like,
There you go. It's racism, sexual harassment. There's certain things like anything with kids. There's certain things that it's like even if you don't get that, like even that Timothy Busfield story, even
mhm.
if he doesn't have an actual case against him because the parents are liars, how can we look at him without thinking that now? Like it's
Yeah,
so effed.
it
Billy
is.
Bush always talks about this, right?
Yeah.
Like how the second you put the word sexual on anything, your
Yeah.
career's over as a man.
Ugh, it's so upsetting.
Yeah.
I want to ask what next steps are because are we slowly getting to a point where justice might finally, yeah, this is like the slowest I've ever seen, I feel like a case. Are we getting to a point where there might actually be bodies in courtrooms? And do you envision Blake Lively sitting across from Justin Baldoni? How do we think that there would be cameras inside? How does this play out?
Yeah.
You know?
So no cameras inside, which is devastating for us
No,
because
girl,
there's
we're just
no,
gonna watch you 24/7.
I know, but like unfortunately we just have to go off transcripts,
Yeah.
which is so hard because it's so important to see body language
Tone.
and
Yeah.
tone. And I want to see Blake cry on that set and that stand. You know, she will be on the stand. She is the plaintiff. She has to be on that stand. Um, I don't I don't foresee this settling unless right now we had a hearing last week and Judge Lyman was kind of presented everything and Justin Baldoni's side is trying to get Judge Lyman to dismiss a lot of Blake's claims, saying
Mhm.
there's no evidence. Why are we going through this? Why are we wasting the court's time? Why are we wasting the public's time with this? But we don't have a result yet on that. So we'll have to see. But I don't believe Blake Lively will settle at all, ever. She's already 99.9% in. She's going all the way. They're not worried about money. And in her mind, she's the victim.
She wants to take him down. She doesn't want that studio to exist anymore. It's just all about winning, and it just feels so gross. And
Gross.
Yeah, and I'm interested in seeing what the public reaction will be either way, and if she's able to continue to work, because I think she's done a lot of this to herself. Let's talk wellness without the scare tactics. Life is busy. Mornings start fast. Coffee is essential, and routines need to work, not complicate things. People want products that support how they live now, because real beauty is about supporting what keeps you strong, radiant, and feeling your best. That's where Native Path Collagen comes in. No, this is not a trendy, overhyped beauty product. This is the real deal. It contains type 1 and type 3 collagen, which makes up roughly 90% of the collagen found in the human body. These are the building blocks that support skin, hair, and joint health. Native Path helps support those systems. One single ingredient, no fillers, no nonsense, just high quality collagen. Each morning, one scoop can be mixed into your coffee or your favorite beverage. It dissolves easily, has no taste, and fits seamlessly into your everyday routine. Many people report stronger hair, smoother, more hydrated skin, and less joint stiffness, especially in the mornings. Try it for yourself. Visit getnativepath.com/unfiltered to take advantage of a special offer today. Here comes the spelling test. Ready? It's Get GET native NATIVE path PATH.com/unfiltered for a special bundle deal at a fraction of the retail price, backed by a risk-free 365-day guarantee. If you want to look good, feel good, and actually support your body instead of just hoping your moisturizer is magic, Native Path is where you start. GetNativePath.com/unfiltered. Do you mind if we talk about the Beckhams a little bit? Because
Let's do it.
On the Mean Girl theme, I think Nicola Peltz is a huge problem. And again, to go back to Harry and Meghan, I feel like you've got this dynamic of a British man who was born into this gilded cage, marries a carefree American girl who gives no Fs. And with Meghan, I don't understand her sense of entitlement. She's not self-made. They do have to hustle for paychecks. But Nicola Peltz, billionaire family, they run the world. I do understand where she gets her confidence, because she's like, who cares if your parents don't like us? We can be on a private jet to Hawaii tomorrow.
Yeah.
And Brooklyn pulls a Prince Harry. He does a bunch of posts on his Instagram where he's tearing into his family. He talks about how his family is just so highly performative. Everything's choreographed for the Beckham brand. He accuses his mom of dancing inappropriately with him at his wedding. Says that somebody made the comment to him, Nicola's not blood and not family. Like, technically, they're right. He talks about bribery accusations, claiming the family dynamic completely broke down after his parents tried to have a conversation with him about the copyright around his name, which is a legitimate conversation when you're in a family like that. Victoria owned the copyright. And I understand it's a much more difficult scenario where, like, they needed permission for David to do something. They needed Brooklyn's, or they wanted Brooklyn to be signed off on it to benefit him. But Nicola's family swooped in and didn't understand. And they were like, no, just don't bother.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is there anything else? Victoria used women from Brooklyn's past against him. Dad refused to see him in London. Dad asked to see him without his wife. You've like, sometimes your parents just want to see you. I mean, like, I think that's a totally normal request.
Especially because they didn't like her, and they knew at this point that she was like not she was not like one of them yet. Like at this point, they didn't feel close enough in that moment.
Right. And it's his birthday. And he's like, I just want to be with my boys. I totally think that that's normal. And there's this weird line that I think he's trying to talk to us. He's trying to be vague enough so we don't know what the actual circumstances are, while making his mother look like a monster. But he
Mhm.
says Victoria refused to help Nicola regarding displaced dogs during the LA fires. We've
Yup.
out of our way for years to show up and support at every fashion show, every party, and every press activity to show our perfect family. But the one time my wife asked my mom for support from displaced dogs during the LA fires, my mom refused. Like she did, she raised a bunch of money to help navigate where to put displaced dogs. Nicola did during the fires. I appreciate her doing that. But to call out Victoria, who might have had a pretty busy agenda or might have been like, I don't live there. I'm not the demo here. I just thought that was petty. Did you what was your reaction to this post? Did you think first world problems or how did you respond?
I mean, I was very interested in it. Obviously, I thought it was very fascinating, but at the same time, like, I hate to say this, I am a mom and I have two boys, and whoever they marry, I am recognizing that a lot of times, a lot of times, they say boy moms tend to lose their sons to their wives, right? Now, this is truly a worst nightmare for a family. This what's happening. Like truly a worst nightmare because there's no winners. There's no winners or losers. Like your enemy is your own kid who is dogging you
Yeah.
publicly and you don't really necessarily want to fight back because it's your own son. And I'm sure Victoria feels very torn. Like I hate him, but I love him. But why is he doing this? But I hate him. Like it's got to be so awful for that family, so heartbreaking. And Victoria and David may be awful human beings behind the scenes. They may be only concerned about their brand. They may be selfish. They may be all these things. They may be controlling parents. But ultimately, they're still your mom and dad. They raised him in a nice way. He was not abused as a kid. I mean, as far as we know, he's not. He would, at this point, he would
I
say it,
feel
I
like
feel like.
that would have been like maybe on slide 1 of 16.
Yeah. I mean, he's not holding back, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like he would say, my whole life is a sham. They were abusing me. Da, da, da. No, I mean, they gave him a very, maybe it wasn't
Push.
this like storybook, perfect, dinner every night at the table life. But come on, Brooklyn Beckham is Brooklyn Beckham because of his parents.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of how did he even meet Nicola? How did he even get to these situations? She wouldn't have even given him a second eye if he wasn't a Beckham.
Right.
So it's
Does he really think he would have been invited to Leonardo DiCaprio's Halloween party if his mom wasn't Posh Spice?
exactly, it's like it's giving a little ungrateful, entitled, you know, and it's really ultimately, it comes down to the fact that his wife is like, you deserve better. You can't live this way, this and that. And maybe he feels this way, but to put it out there so publicly like this and to make his mom sound crazy by inappropriately dancing with him and the fires and the dogs. I mean, what? Like
Yeah.
it feels very, I don't like this, like as a little boy. Like it feels very immature.
Look
Just
at your arms. You have such great arms.
I work out.
Yeah, girl,
But
you
just,
do.
yeah, but someone said the other day, are you a bodybuilder? And it freaked me out. Like, what? I don't want to look like a bodybuilder,
You know,
but
you look like a
anyway.
supermodel.
Okay, okay.
But
But the
I
whole
did.
thing is that I just think that had he just said one slide, unfortunately, at this point in my life, I would like to, remove myself from the conversation when it comes
Mhm.
to my parents. I wish them well. We are no longer close. And that is that. But all the details are very petty.
Yeah. And even my mom was supposed to design my wedding dress, but at the 11th hour pulled out. I mean, you can go back and read the Vogue articles where one of Nicola's many wedding planners, because she burned through multiple ones, says, I traveled back and forth to Italy to make sure she had the perfect, what was it, Valentino? Like,
Check your receipts, girl.
yeah,
You had a wedding dress being made. What is this?
exactly. It doesn't it's giving Harry and Meghan like these champagne problems, oversharing, and what makes the the public so intrigued by the British royal family and even the Beckhams, which are jokingly like considered the other royal family, is that mystique and is that highly choreographed, curated life that we have access to. And I think that both couples are like, we're just going to blow that up. But we prefer to see David and Victoria in a specific light. And so we look at something like this and just go, grow up.
That's exactly what it feels like. It's like grow up. And by the way, I did hear that Meghan Markle spoke to Brooklyn Beckham and gave him kind of some words of advice.
Oh, yes.
Which so tracks. Like,
yes.
You couldn't. That's like a nightmare rotation between Meghan Markle, Nicola, Brooklyn, Harry. Like the four of them together right now. They're probably just sitting there commiserating about their bad parents.
It's like being on an email chain with Matt Damon, Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds.
Blake Lively's like, please call me, call me.
It does seem like they just all love to wallow in their own misery. And I don't think that that's where we are culturally anymore. And we were. I think around COVID, we all were like, let's elevate the victims. There was a victim moment happening. And I just think that we've moved on and we're like, I'm not going to piss and moan. Tomorrow I'm going to have a better day.
Yeah.
I think there's been a shift.
I mean, I can't stand a professional victim. I think those are the worst kinds of people out there that are constantly saying everything wrong that's happening to them. And I don't know, maybe Brooklyn feels like this was his last time saying it and now he can move on and be happy. But I guess we'll see if it continues to come up. Like if this is just one in many exposés.
Oh God. Well, they're saying he has been offered a book deal similar to Prince Harry's, but Harry needed to do that book deal financially. Brooklyn doesn't because he married a billionaire. So I'm not 100% convinced he would do that. I loved your suggestion. And I think you're absolutely right. If he would have just said, I'd like to be removed from this conversation. A lot of the things you're reading in the paper, that they're not real. I'm desperately in love with my wife. We're incredibly happy. And while I don't spend as much time with my family anymore, I do wish them the best. Because then we would have to think every time we saw a negative headline, is this real? Brooklyn said there's no drama going on behind the scenes. But now when we see headlines about Victoria on her hands and knees crying over being blocked by Brooklyn, we're going, well, that checks.
Yeah. Now I think it's like he wanted to just answer all the questions so that he never had to talk about it again. And I feel like I'm like, but now I have so many more questions.
But did you notice, I don't know how glued you've been to this story, but I've been glued to it for a while. Every story he addresses was a story that has leaked to American media outlets in the last few years. Victoria hijacking his first dance, that was on page 6 early last year or the year before. So these stories that he wanted, that it was clearly important to him that he communicate. It indicates to me that their team has been leaking stories about his parents too, to American media outlets.
Not because it's here and not there.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I was like, you're not innocent if you're also playing this game that you're similar to Harry and Meghan. Harry and Meghan always accusing other people of leaking. When I know Harry and Meghan leak like a faucet. It's like Harry wants his privacy while writing a book about Catherine's private text messages to Meghan. Like, make it make sense.
None of it makes sense. It's all hypocrisy.
It truly is. I'm so sorry to keep you for so long. Let's jump to Meghan really quick. Meghan's Netflix show won't have a third season. I think we predicted this months ago. Her heavily promoted lifestyle show With Love, Meghan won't be returning. Multiple sources told Page 6 after the Duchess called the show a lot of work. Oh my God, wait, I have to go back because I wanted to say, and this is for Meghan too, and Harry, Brooklyn was saying like he just was tired of reading the headlines about him and that's what made him snap. Get a job and you don't have time to Google yourself. How often are you Googling yourself? You're not, because you're constantly working and raising children. Like, and this is, again, sorry to go back, but like Harry and Meghan have way too much time to Google themselves. Brooklyn and Nicola have way too much time to Google yourselves. Contribute to the world and you don't have time to sit and read about yourself.
She called the show a lot of work.
A lot of work. And, she had like 17 producers on her podcast alone. How many producers?
Oh my God. I'm a one-woman show.
A one-woman show. Thank you very much. Like, it's insane. She called it a lot of work.
But that's just her way of saying that it was saying I got canceled and I don't want it to look like that, right?
I think, well, that was her way of.
Or is she pretending that or is she saying it got canceled like openly?
She's not saying that. She's trying to say that they're pivoting to social media content because that's where the audience is going. Even though someone like me, literally, the day it came out, was like, this is a 30-second TikTok. Why is she making it a 45-minute
Yeah.
show?
Yeah.
So, but I had some questions specifically for you because we had such a fun conversation about the casting decisions throughout Meghan's show and
Yeah.
like how she could have made it better. Well, last week, as you, I'm sure, were buried with Blake Lively drama, there were all sorts of scandals, like barely related to Meghan Markle, but I saw the connection, so I was dying. So, how do I say this name? Karamo Brown?
Karamo.
Karamo. So Karamo Brown
Mm-hmm.
pulls out of Queer Eye cast interview over fears of being bullied. This happens on CBS Mornings with Gayle King, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
for their final premiere of Queer Eye season 10 on Netflix. And Gayle King has to read a statement out loud in front of the rest of the cast, explaining his absence.
It was so weird.
It was so, I mean, what a bad B word that we're talking about scheming. We're talking about conniving. He apologizes for skipping out on the interview and thanks the show's audience with a separate statement from his assistant saying that he was worried about being bullied. Now, Tan France is on Meghan's show with Love Meghan. Meghan,
Oh.
who has all of these bullying accusations that she's been fighting over the years. There was a Rolling Stone article not too long ago accusing France of conspiring to get Bobby Burke kicked off the show, successfully, I might add, allegedly, and replaced by his friend Brent. France obviously denies this, but then you turn on Gayle King in the morning and one of his co-stars is refusing to be on set with him. So I feel like that might be alluding to something else.
Mm.
And so then also last week around the same time, Naomi Osaka apologized after she had a tense exchange on the court. She said, I don't like disrespecting people. This is a tennis player that also appeared on With Love Meghan.
Oh my God, all these people.
Yeah. And I was surprised that they would put her on there because she does have a history of unsportsmanlike conduct on the court. Like she has a history of being considered hot-tempered and really aggressive and unpleasant.
Yeah.
And so from a casting director's perspective, we've talked about Chrissy Teigen, who told a teenage girl to off herself on social media while Meghan is campaigning against online bullying. What the hell was going on here?
My guess is she didn't have a very easy time casting the show. I don't think that Meghan Markle, being on Meghan Markle's With Love for the third season, it was the third season or second season,
It was the
right?
second season, but remember
But they all
them
filmed it at the same time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. I don't think people are knocking down doors to try to get on that show. Like I think that's a difficult show to sell to actors, to like or talent, people that have a great career and
Yeah.
there's no drama around them, that they don't need that press. I don't think Meghan Markle is someone that people are like, I am dying to be on With Love Meghan. They saw, all the bad press. I think everyone in Hollywood kind of knows that she's insufferable. But that's my guess, is that you're kind of, when you cast a show, you go to the A-listers and then they all say no. And then you put offers out to the B and then they may say no. And then you go down the list. It's just like Dancing with the Stars, right? Dancing with the Stars now has become this really, really big show. But a few seasons back, it was kind of like, it was a dud, right? People weren't dying to be on it. Now I think people are really wanting to be on it because it's like such a star power show. But I don't believe that people were like, please, I need to go to Montecito. I need to be in this kitchen.
Are casting directors even considering the consequences of, like, I get it. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel because it's a necessity, but are they looking at that person's background going, well, if the objective is to make her a likable Betty homemaker, and a lot of these personalities that we're having on the show have histories of also being considered bullies, it feels like they're not thinking about the consequences where we go, wow, bully, 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 bully. You are who you associate with, bully, bully, bully.
Maybe they were not even thinking in that sense. I mean, I have no idea because it's probably more than just casting. It's probably a Netflix decision. It's probably Megan's team has to approve of
Yeah,
it as
because
well.
Chrissy's on Star Search, which is starting on Netflix soon. So
There you
maybe
go,
that,
which is a crazy decision to
oh
put
my
her on
God,
that.
right? And then Tan France, Netflix's final Queer Eye
Well, so
is,
there you go. This is
yeah.
a lot of, that's what I was going to say also is that a lot of these things, they call it like stunt casting, just putting someone on from another show. It's a crossover. Oh, you like Tan's episode? Guess what? He's also on Queer Eye. Oh, you also like this. And maybe Naomi Osaka has a deal with Netflix. Maybe they share the same agent.
Mm.
There's so many behind the scenes things that go into these things. I don't think any of them were like, this will make Meghan look good. It's more just this is who we got. This is who we need to put on for Netflix. This is who we need to put on for the agents, etc.
I don't have the exact analytics in front of me, but I know that her Christmas special was at like 1,022 when it came to how it landed. Her second season was even below that. Her first season didn't even hit the top 300. There are reports that her team continues to pitch Netflix a 4th of July special, a Valentine's Day special.
Oh my God.
Is the return on investment there for Netflix? I don't know because I know that all PR is good PR, but I purchase Netflix to watch the people we meet on vacation, but I would never pay for Netflix to watch With Love Megan.
Even people that love that content, like that watch Ina Garden and love, cooking shows are not enjoying Meghan Markle's show. Like that's the thing. If you are going to dive into that lifestyle cooking type format, you better be amazing at it because there's so many other people would rather watch.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing about, I just truly do not get the appeal with Meghan Markle at all. I don't see how some people are out there fighting tooth and nail for her success. And she doesn't bring that energy to me in any way where I'm like, oh, I'm dying to continue to watch her.
You know how she does it. She's got the Taylor Swift method where she's
The
cultivated an
victim.
audience through being the victim. She's cultivated the audience through always having an enemy somewhere. Whether it's me or the British royal family or Netflix, Netflix is afraid to formally announce any sort of cancellation because they don't want the backlash the way that Bill Simmons and Spotify got the backlash when they spoke out about their lack of work ethic and silly decisions. So there's always an enemy. And I think that that's how she continues to cultivate and keep her audience engaged, similar to Swift. Can you talk to me about your candle?
Oh, yes. I really wanted to bring this to the people. So I have a listener who has a family member that was working at Netflix for many, many years and just left. And I was gifted this gorgeous, as ever, candle.
She's being sarcastic when she says gorgeous.
Yeah. By the way, if this didn't come with a box that said as ever, I would have thought we got it at the gas station. Let me show it to you. Okay. It's water lotus, sandalwood, and California poppy. How much do you think these retail for?
I think that they're between 45 and 60. I can't remember. I think they're $60.
There's no wick. Is that normal?
Are you serious?
Is that the thing?
There's no wick. I've had two people tell me that there was no wick when they ordered a candle.
There's literally no wick.
Are you kidding?
I have an empty wickless. How do I light it? I literally just noticed that. I just pulled it out. There is a hole in my Meghan Markle candle.
So here's the thing. When Donna told me that she had this candle, I was like, let's talk about the candle. But I really felt like the story was that Netflix had extra swag and they were shoving it off on people leaving. Like
literally, she was given a ton of Meghan Markle swag.
And the actual story here is that another freaking wickless candle exists.
And it says on the bottom, always trim wick to 1/4. Da, da, da. So this is not intentional. I thought this was like a thing she does.
No. This is insane.
There's no wick.
This is why like everything's crap because nobody is doing their due diligence.
Oh my God, I can't wait to talk about this more on my show. This is funny. This is amazing. I'm going to say something. I want Meghan Markle to send me a wick. Can I respond? Can I message? Is there customer service
There
anywhere?
is customer service, but they're going to be like, "Can we have your order number?" And you're going to be like, "This was put in a trash bag full of swag as my girlfriend was leaving Netflix. Let me see how much this candle is."
I mean,
Oh,
technically,
by the way, I bought the URL aseversucks.com.
stop.
It's asever.sucks. No, it's asever.sucks. I bought asever.sucks. And
Can I be the first post on it talking about this?
yes, and they told me it's up for renewal and they want some ungodly $64 for your wickless candle.
That's crazy.
$64 for your wickless candle.
Oh my God.
No wonder Netflix is like, you are the plague. We have got to get away from you.
It's truly not. I just went to As Ever and it's your website. It's so cute, by the way. As Ever sucks, right? As Ever dot sucks.
Sucks.
Oh my God, that is so cute. Yeah, no, I'm on As Ever, her website. And
Mhm.
if you can get a Valentine's Day collection if you order by February 5th, just in case
I'm
you
not
want to know.
gonna. I'm not gonna do
You
it.
sure?
Yeah.
I'm literally going to go to customer service. I'm going to say I was gifted this candle and I can't use it. What do I do?
Oh my gosh, please. Are you gonna keep me updated on the response
Yes, I'm
that
going
you
to do a
get?
whole series. Literally a whole series. Excuse me, there's no wick.
But also you said that you weren't impressed by the scent. Is that
No,
true?
no. I mean, look, scents and smells are very subjective. Like everyone has their own feelings on it. But I
Yeah.
opened it and I was like, I don't think I'd want my room to smell like this. But also my kids who like love scented like candle type stuff,
Yeah.
we're like, no, I don't like it. And they don't know who Meghan Markle, like
Yeah.
they don't care about Meghan Markle. It's just not, it doesn't jump out at me. It's water lotus, sandalwood, and California poppy.
One of them are like I don't even know, the stupidity just annoys me that I have to say this out loud, but they're based on like her wedding day and things like that. And you're just like, okay, I was $64, not worth it. I'd rather go to Home Goods or
For
TJ
real.
Maxx and get a cheapo one that actually smells delicious and has a wick.
Exactly. Here I got it. The item I purchased arrived damaged. If your item was damaged in transit, I'm gonna literally go through the process. Let's see what happens.
They're gonna be like, oh my gosh. I'm just curious to see if you actually get a response because if this is happening as often as it seems it's happening, then they have to have some go-to language that generic go-to language that they use. But also, this happened a lot at the beginning of the launch. Remember, everything sold out in minutes, and we know it was because she only had like 10 pieces of product. She wasn't trying to move a ton of product.
Yeah.
And then she would allow you to make the purchase. They would take your credit card information. And then a few hours later or a few days later, you'd get an email saying that the item was no longer available. Would you like a refund or would you like to wait until an unknown date to actually receive the product that you purchased? And to me, as a consumer, I think if that's my first experience buying a Meghan Markle lifestyle product, it's not a positive one. And I can't guarantee I'm going to come back.
No, not at all. And this is so funny because I'm Googling Meghan Markle. And then the first thing comes up is wickless candle. And there's a full Daily Mail article. I'm sure you covered this with
Yeah.
Link Lauren,
Yeah.
who was saying like I have a hole in my candle and people thought he was lying and like faking it. If you pull out a wick, it's not a perfect hole. It would totally mess up the candle.
Yeah, you're right.
Like
You
this was
can't.
sold this way and this
Yeah.
was given this way, created quality control. They said, yes, here for $64. And there's people out there in God knows where spending their hard-earned money on this stuff.
There's all my question too would be she has pop-ups at Soho House LA and at Godmother's bookstore in Montecito. I'm curious to
Should we
know if
go with the
I'm
mask?
curious to know if they're opening up every box to ensure that if I walk out of a store, I mean, if they're just tossing these in the mail and sending them to people, are they at least making sure that when because Soho House and Godmothers, they're doing Megan a favor by allowing these pop-up shops. Are they at least doing double checking? How do
For wicks and a candle, like that's a wild thing that you have to check.
I just don't understand how you leave the British royal family because you think your ideas are so much better and you fall on your face so hard.
I have no idea. So much goes wrong there. Like It's not a one-off. It's a constant, like a flub after a flub after a flub after a flub, which is why I truly believe Meghan Markle, if she wants to produce the cookie documentaries or whatever, just do it, but just be silent.
Go
Just
away.
continue to do your work quietly.
Right.
Stop being so loud about everything, and people will slowly just kind of release. And then you can make a lot of money behind the scenes.
Yeah. Well, apparently they're mad about the cookie documentary. Girl Scout moms and dads are, because it's not like a lovey story about little cute girls selling Girl
Uh-oh.
Scout cookies. It's about the parents spending $2,000 on the cookies so that their child
Moves up the
dominates.
ranks.
Yeah, dominates the ranks, and how difficult it is for people to keep up with some of the.
Oh, it's like a negative spin on the Cookie Monster, on the
Right. I'm
Cookie
like,
Monsters.
I just said this to one of my British friends and he didn't believe it, but you'll believe it. You know, you're here. I mean, they put those little Girl Scouts in front of a dispensary and they're not like, they're gone. Like those
They're in front
cookies.
of bars. They're outside of sports bars. I'm not joking. They put them everywhere, everywhere. And I have a lot of girlfriends with daughters who sell. So like I always feel very stressed out and I end up with so many Thin Mints because I want to support everyone. But no, it is a hardcore business.
It is. And so apparently this Cookie Queen movie is about like how they hustle, how, you know, it's not like, oh, how sweet. It's like, oh, this is down and dirty.
Oh my God. Now I kind of want to watch it. It
Yeah.
actually sounds
Now all of a sudden
somewhat good now.
I know exactly when it was supposed to be like just like hugs and kisses and rainbows. I was like,
The history of the cookie of the Girl Scouts. I'm like, oh, no,
yeah.
thanks. I already watched Troop Beverly Hills. I don't need that.
Well, this has been so much fun. I am loving the Wickless candle edition. That was a very
This was great.
unexpected, adorable surprise. You were like, should I just go get it? And I actually hesitated because I didn't want anybody to think we were trying to promote. Like, we have been gifted items that are from As Ever. We have never submitted our credit cards. We have never made purchases. I want to
Never.
stress that. But I'm so glad I did go, yeah, go get it. It's interesting that Netflix was handing stuff out.
I just can't believe that this is how this came. I can't wait to continue to talk about my wickless candle. It actually just really makes the story better, though.
It does. It does. Because
Yeah.
you were like, yeah, this was like handed to somebody while walking off the job. And
Yep.
That's interesting. Because I did have
I should get a match and just put a match inside and then light it and be like, my candle works.
That's the only way it's going to work. I did have a girlfriend that did calligraphy on candles for the Netflix holiday party. And I thought it was interesting that they did not use Meghan's candles for the Netflix holiday party because they're technically supposed to be Meghan's partner, but now they're wickless. So
Yeah, they probably opened
they
6
wanted
of
to
them.
give those away at the holiday party. So now that makes a lot more sense. That's absolutely hilarious.
Too funny.
Okay, well, I am going to go not buy a Meghan Markle candle is basically the moral of the story. Daily dose of Donna. You can subscribe on YouTube. Please do if you haven't. Also, your Instagram is my favorite follow. Like I said,
love you.
refreshing constantly. So go follow Donna on Instagram as well. Is there anything else you wanted to say before I let you go?
No, I thank you so much for the support, and I'll continue to talk about all of the Blake Lively stuff. And I watch you for all of my Meghan Markle stuff. So I'm glad that we discovered this tragedy together.
It was biblical. It was so biblical.
It really was. It was amazing.
All right. Agree with us, disagree with us. Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Thank you so much for watching. We love that you've spent the day with us, and we'll talk to you again very soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.